All right, y'all. What's good? It's your boy K. Hey, no need, no intro, no nothing. I just want to explain something real quick. All right, so I went to go see Avengers Endgame again. Saw it today. That final scene is dope. Gonna be spoilers up in here. I'm not finna do no review, but I sort of after watching it a second time, now I understand the time travel a bit more and where it got confusing at. They weren't per se time traveling. They was reality hopping based off what the movie is trying to give us. Because yes, okay, there was basically reality hopping instead of actually time traveling. Because just like the Sorcerer Supreme said, each reality has their own set of infinity stones. You pull these infinity stones from these realities, it creates a new one and goes off to a new one. But just like Bruce Banner said, if I put these Infinity Stones back at that time during that reality will flow and continue down the road it's supposed to be. Okay, this is the issues I ran into with this because when Iron Man, Doctor Strange, when Iron Man, Cap, and the team was all doing their plan, setting up the heist for the Infinity Stones, right? They was doing the heist. Now this was the problem I ran into. Nebula from our time traveled back in time to 2014 with Rhodey. Now, based off what Bruce Banner was trying to tell us, they was hopping to different realities, like parallel realities, not really going back in time. They was going to a parallel version of their 2012. They didn't go to their 2012. They went to a parallel of their 2012. So when they got there, they was able to take the Infinity Stones from that reality and use them in their reality. But this is the problem that I noticed. And Ebony Maw brought this up. He said it perfectly. He basically said it. Nebula and Rhodey traveled to 2014. 2014 of their time. Because what Ebony Maw said, this is a nebula from 9 years into the future of their past. So Ebony Maw, when Nebula, that message came up and Nebula saw her future, this was the problem with that. And as soon as Nebula from our time went back to 2014 of our time, she immediately linked up with the other Nebula. Now this is the problem with that because Ebony Maw said she's from the future, so the 2014 they traveled to was from our reality. Now I was under the impression they was traveling to different versions of our realities, not their past reality. So we have one reality, which is our time and everything. Our present is our own reality. Now this is where I got confused because was the 2012 they traveled back to in the film of our time and our reality, or was that of a separate reality and different parallel reality of 2012? Because that's where it got confusing at. Now Ebony Maw, he stated this is from nine. This transmission from Nebula is from 9 years into the future. So, Rhodey, Black Widow, Nebula, and Hawkeye all traveled to 2014 to get the Soul Stone and the Power Stone in 2014, where Thanos is at. So, they went back to the past in our reality. Because if you look at it like this, Captain America went to the past. Captain America went back to those different realities they went to. So he took all those songs by 2012. He went back to 2014. But those couldn't have been in our reality. Because if that's the case, Captain America shouldn't have came back to our reality. He should have branched off into a new one and created a new one. But see, this is the problem with this. Because it gets even more confusing. What is it? Captain America grew up through our time and ended up back to our present day as an old man. Captain America's future changed. So this is the issue with this. Captain America went back to a point in time of our timeline, to where he stayed and ended up in our reality. He went to our version of the 1940s to stay with Peggy. He went to our 1945 to stay with Peggy. And he changed the reality from there. Because if he went back in our time, you guys, he came back to our time and lived through it. And he's an old man now. So He went back to a 1945 where there was a cap. There was two caps in one reality. So, or did the caps end up joining? That's the confusion. Did two caps end up joining bodies? Did two caps end up joining bodies? Because that's the confusion there. Two caps ended up joining together, or was it separate? Because I think they were separate. So you had our cap living in a time with Peggy Carter. But this is where it gets fuzzy. So basically, Captain America, for this to work, for there to be two Steves, for him to not mess up the timeline, Captain America stayed there. Either he stayed with Peggy or he just went back to get his dance that he wanted. Or he stayed with Peggy, married Peggy, they went MIA completely. And if Peggy goes MIA completely, the funeral in Civil War will be different because it's just confusing, bro. Because Nebula shot her past self. Nebula should have died. Now, if it was a Nebula from a different reality, she wouldn't die. Because Ebony Maw said, this is Nebula from 9 years into the future. So Nebula shot her. That's when you get into time travel. Nebula shot herself from their 2014. Because Ebony Maw said, this transmission we're getting from Nebula is from 9 years into the future. Meaning their reality, their future, the future of that reality. So the 2014 they traveled to was from their past. Part of their timeline, which is our present timeline. They traveled to that point to get the Power Stone and the Soul Stone. So that throws off stuff. Okay, they return the stones. And they'll act like it never happened, but still, Nebula shot her past self. So something should have happened to the future Nebula. But see, even if they take out the stones of that reality, it would have branched off anyways into a new one. If they didn't return the stones, it would have branched off into a new timeline and caused some catastrophe. But then with Captain America, this is confusing. With Captain America, he should have branched off into a new timeline. Or a new reality. Not a new timeline, a new reality. Because the only way for Cap to end up back in our timeline is if he traveled, stayed in our reality, and then he lived through it and ended up old. But see, he would be living in a time where there's two Captain Americas. So where's the other Captain America at? There's another Captain America. He went back to a time where there's another Captain America. Where's the other Captain America at? So there's an old Cap and there's a frozen Cap. Oh, brain fart. Look, you guys, I just wanted to bring it up after my second viewing. That shit's crazy, cuz it I don't know, cuz it kind of contradicts itself because Cap stayed in the past. He should have branched into a new reality, just like if you took out the Infinity Stones, he would too. Well, that's if he stayed in our time, lived through it, and somehow everything stayed the same and Thanos happened. That means our Cap sat by, let Thanos come, let Bucky become the Winter Soldier. He let all this happen so he doesn't mess up the timeline, and he let Frozen Cap deal with it. But still, he messed with Peggy. That messes up the timeline too, in a way, him interacting with Peggy. Because that's going to change how she interacts with Steve when she gets old. It's confusing. I'm going to end this video there. It's your boy K-Dot, the first Black Super Saiyan to arrive on this planet. Ugh, this time travel is crazy. I'm going to end this video there. Go spread that peace, love, positivity all the time. Deuces. Time travel sucks. That's what hurt Endgame. Don't put time travel up in here. That's like lazy writing cop-out. Because I'm still confused. I'm more confused than a bee. Because at the end of the day, Captain America was in another timeline, sat idly by for years and let everything play out the way it did again. And that's totally out of character for Captain America at the end of the day. Captain America wouldn't sit by ever. In Captain America of the first Avenger, this scrawny little boy was going to go head up with some bullies that was 10 times bigger than him. And you're telling me Captain America sat idly by in a reality where he knew how things would play out. And he could have hinted at stuff and stopped things sooner when he had the information. You're telling me he lived in a reality where he stopped being Captain America and he had to sit by because there was another Captain America in his same reality. If he was trying to let time go out the same way he did, he couldn't interact with the other Captain America and he couldn't interact with Peggy because then that would mess up the flow of that timeline. and how it's supposed to play out. I'm just saying. Because if that's the case, no. This is where it gets even more crazy. 2014 Thanos came from the same timeline where Ebony Maw told Thanos, this transmission from Gamora is from 9 years into the future. Our future. The 2014. So, if they're saying our nebula from our present time is the future event that they see in their 2014 with past nebula, 2014 nebula, then that means both those timelines are connected. That 2014 is going to end up being the 20 is going to end up being our 2024 or 2022 because it was 5 years past since Endgame in Infinity War. So Thanos in our 2014 is dead because we killed him in the present MCU timeline. So shouldn't that have messed with the future? Because we killed our past selves from our same reality. Because Ebony Maw said that transmission is from 9 years into the future for what Nebula saw and sent the information back to the older Nebula. And then Nebula shot her past self from 2014. So shouldn't Nebula be dead? I mean, I'm just trying to understand because the rules they established, if they travel back to the past or their other branch reality, they travel to a different reality of a parallel reality. They do something there, that reality will branch, but their reality will still be okay because it's still gonna play out the way it is. But the reality they change around. If they take out a Infinity Stones, a new timeline will branch from it. I don't know, shit. It's confusing, bro. It's confusing. But all I know is there's 2 Captain Americas now. I know that there's 2 Captain Americas. Look, I would have rather they just killed off Captain America. This is confusing, bro. Man, you have a good day. Go show that peace, love, positivity. They got Falcon as freaking Captain America. I want to see no black Captain America. The freak. I'd rather see Bucky as Captain America. Freak Falcon, bro. I want to see no black Captain America. What the freak? What y'all think this is? Progressive MCU? No black Captain America. Ugh, fuck out of here. I'm about to end the video there. So peace, love, positivity all the time. Deuces.